Welcome to another Power Talk podcast. Man, we enjoy so much being able to be with you every week. I hope that you're enjoying it, coming in and listening to our conversation as much as we just enjoy the conversations that we have.
Yeah.
And so anyway, today we have a special one. First of all, I hope you've been listening to the last couple because they've been really good. I think we ministered on dreams last week, and then the week before that was a little bit about that shift that was taking place. Well, today we're going to do one that's I think everybody's interested in, and this one deals with more or less marriage and relationships. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And I'm blessed to have my special, I say he's not a special guest, who's a part of this panel, our campus pastor, one and only, Matthew De Leon.
How's it going, my pastor?
I'm doing really good.
Good.
So I look forward to this, Matthew, because I think that at the end of the day, the most important thing to all people is relationships, whether it be a marriage, whether it be a courting, whether it be a friendship, right? Maybe even sometimes just a working relationship.
Yes.
But this one today, we're going to deal specifically more with a marriage.
I'm sure you dealt with it too, Pastor. Right now, a lot of people are coming, a lot of young people who are married are coming for counsel right now. And they can use some marriage tips.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the indication for our podcast for today.
That's good. Really, let me just preface this because what Matthew is saying is so important is that we've always needed counseling, but never at the level that it's required today.
There's more counseling I've done.
Young people are walking into marriage and they know absolutely nothing. So there's a couple of problems with that. What are they learning before they ever think about asking someone to marry them? Probably very little in today's world. Right?
You're already going there, huh?
Okay, yeah. Well, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. No.
Well, this is really good, though.
It is.
This is where just on a logical. We can't make marriage so spiritual that we throw out the logic, right?
Yeah, right. And that's exactly what happens is that you have all these young people, they fall in love, and then they get involved in a relationship, and then they go deeper, and then they take it to the next step, till eventually it becomes something that's called marriage. The problem is that each step doesn't make you better. They find that they get worse. And a lot of this is a precursor to what they've learned before they ever got into the relationship in the beginning, in the first place.
Come on.
You know how many young people don't really have a father or a father figure in their life?
It's true.
That's had a good marriage that they can glean from? That is by far the number one reason
I agree.
for us getting into bad relationships.
I agree, Pastor.
Number two is that a lot of ministers are very limited on what they know. Even if their marriage is decent, they really don't know how to express it and put it in a concise manner that would help somebody for the next step of their life called marriage also. And so what happens is you have this real breakdown in logic and information. You have this real breakdown of just understanding on how to work a marriage. But then they come in and then they realize, oh, we're going to serve the Lord though when we get married. Okay, you may. But I find that almost always one of the things that's real common is that because they haven't learned how to logically live right, they haven't learned certain standards, they haven't had a good example, that it does affect you spiritually because at some point you give up.
Right.
And we all give up on things that we aren't doing very good at, right? Especially if we feel like we're losing all the time.
Come on, Pastor.
Right? Nobody wants to lose all the time. And if you're in marriage and you feel like every argument, even if you feel like you won the argument, you know in your heart you lost. All of a sudden a child is born and now you've got another issue because now maybe you're not making quite enough money in the job that you have. There's another loss.
Come on.
All of a sudden you find you're gone more than you're at home, so you don't get to spend quality time with the family. There's another loss. So you have a car that's not working properly, and it's like you don't have the finances to fix it. There's another loss.
Right.
And so young families tend to take a lot of losses.
That's good.
And so because there's so many losses, they don't really know how to weed through all the potential problems that they don't know how to fix them.
Yeah.
because they've never been given an example of how to fix anything.
Come on. That's
And
good.
so
That's really, really
this
good.
is kind of the preface of where we'll start going with this
Yeah.
questioning.
Yeah.
Because I think that's why a lot of young people struggle in
Yeah.
their relationships all the way through to marriage that end up in divorce more often than not.
I agree. And one of the topics I find myself counseling more is the expectation, or the unrealistic expectation of a marriage pastor.
Exactly. Because again, nobody knows how to fight properly.
They don't
Believe
fight
it or
fair.
not.
They don't fight fair.
They don't fight fair. You got one person in the marriage who feels like they're giving everything, and in reality, it's just a feeling. Because the truth is, they're probably both working hard.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. One needs to actually work a little harder than the other sometimes. That just comes into play.
Be honest about that, and be honest about that.
And be honest. And there's also a limitation of what the other spouse can do in those situations sometimes. Sometimes you can help. Sometimes you cannot. Look, when me and my wife first got married, I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm not even saying she doesn't now, but when the kids were little, she did all the hardest work. I would go to work during the day, potentially bring home the bacon, so to speak, bring home the finances. But she still did the hardest part because she gave a lot of emotion. She gave a lot of heart and soul to the children when they were little that I couldn't be at home to do. So I had a different requirement on my life. So it required that I would be gone about 10 hours a day.
Wow.
So when I'd come home, even though I worked hard, she'll still continue to work even after I get home.
Wow, she didn't stop.
She doesn't stop because those little ones still need something that I still can't give.
Right.
Now, I'll do my best to help, but I'll never be able to completely help. So you both have got to come to a place and realize that, look, we're not going to be perfect helping each other in this. I still have a job to do no matter what. Just do it.
Wow, that's
You've got to work through that mentality that says, well, he doesn't do his share. No, men, help as much as you can. But women, you're going to have to work through it.
Yeah.
Because the tide will turn when all of a sudden the kids can get up on their own in the morning, pour their own bowl of cereal, put their own clothing on, take their own baths. You don't have to do that no more. There's still work to do with them. I agree. But you'll find that those duties over the next few years will start subsiding because they're able to start doing some little things that you had to do for them. You had to dress them, change their diapers, feed them. You had to do. Now you provide it for them, and then they do it themselves. So the trade-off slowly starts coming, but you have to work through that and not be upset at your spouse. But on the other hand, men, you might have to come home and work an extra hour or two to help your wife. Now, I'm not saying that in every situation that works, because I do know men that do work 10-hour days. That means they're gone out of the house 11. They're gone out of the house 11 hours of that day.
Right.
But you have to learn to work together as much as possible. But women, don't give up just because your life got hard. Once you made the decision to have children, you got to remember, you're still doing the one thing that God will reward that many people can't do. And that's to love your children in a way that no man could ever love them. Your man can only provide the physical work to them, but he doesn't have the same nurturing capacity that you do. That means when they get hurt, men say, dust the dirt off and get up. Women say, come here and let me put a Band-Aid on it. You know, this is the difference between how men. Now, am I saying that all men are that way? No, some men are a little softer than others. I'm not saying you're not masculine. Don't write me or text me. I'm not saying you're not masculine. I'm just saying is they certain personality types tend to lean a little bit more where they're a little bit more understanding than other men. I was the one that wasn't real understanding. My kids, you get dirty, clean the dirt off and go play. I'm probably a little bit more understanding today, though, that I'm older. But for the most part, when I was young, you'll get over it. As long as nothing's broke, you'll get over it. And if we need to stitch you up, I've got a needle and thread. No, I mean, honestly, it's almost not quite that bad, but it was kind of like that.
You
is what
must be
I'm
Rambo.
saying. Yeah, I was Rambo. That's it. And the reason why this is extremely important to your life, because you're never going to be in a perfect situation where you're going to feel like your spouse is doing all the work that they should do. And you're going to walk out the door as men and thinking, man, she does nothing. You know what? If your clothes aren't clean, the baby's diapers hasn't been changed, the babies haven't been fed all day, and the house is still dirty, you're right, she's lazy. You need to fix her. You need to fix her. If, man, you come home, you've worked your 8-hour days, and it was physically hard, I agree, it's hard. But sometimes you got to put in the little extra effort, and you say, well, I just don't have the energy. Then get healthy and quit acting like a baby. We all got to do our part because those little ones deserve it. You brought them into the world, so take control of your life.
Yeah.
If you have to get healthy, then get healthy so you have the energy. Quit putting the beer down your throat. Quit going and calling the guys and say, I'm going to go play softball tonight. Quit looking for another reason to get away from the house when in reality, she could probably use that little extra hour that you could offer.
Come on.
It's time that we understand that it's still a concerted effort where you give 100% of your life to her and them, and she gives 100% of her life to you and them. The kids will give nothing in return. They only take for the first few years. So learn to be givers constantly and be okay with that. And so what it'll do is it'll save you a lot of headache and heartache, but this is the best counseling session right there. This might take care of about 50% of your problems if you'll listen to this.
Amen. And that creates an atmosphere of peace for the kids, by the way.
Yes, it sure does. The kids need to know that, you know what, we may be tired, but we push through tiredness because it's the right thing.
We do.
Trust me, this will not last forever. Your kids are going to get to be 5 years old, and before you know it, they're going to walk out with a bright colored orange shirt, one short, one pant leg with a big hole in it, 2 different colored pairs of socks, and a flip-flop on one and a tennis shoe on the other. All you do is say, go back in your room, put on the right clothes. But what you're doing is you're training them to learn to take care of themselves. But you still have to monitor them. That's what parents do. We monitor them. And so, again, we got to understand is that, you know, marriage, I don't know if it was meant to be easy, but guess what? It can be managed if it's done right.
That's right.
It can be worked out if it's done right. And you'll find that, one, in those situations when you're about to lose your mind, you know what you do? Go into the presence of God, go take a vacation, go get a counseling session from somebody that'll be honest, not somebody that will side with you and tell you that your husband is nothing but a pig. No, none of that. That's not a good counselor.
That's right.
Somebody who will say, here, why don't we do this, give you options or challenge you, but that will bring peace and rest to your life to make you help you realize you're not going crazy.
Right.
This is just a natural part of life in the beginning years of your children and a marriage. It's just part of it in the beginning years.
Exactly. That's good, Pastor. Let's start with the head of the house role, Pastor. Let's start with the outlook a man should have in his marriage.
Well, the first one is that he needs to know his values. You cannot be the head of your house if you don't know your values already. I've actually known men, and let me tell you that, okay, some people are going to say, well, the number one reason for divorce, I'm going to tell you the number one reason for divorce right now, because your values are not in place.
That's good.
Because if your values were in place and you say, well, yeah, but this woman doesn't believe the same way I do. Oh, that tells me, then you just proved my point. That means your values are not in place, because if your values were in place, you wouldn't have married her.
Come on. There you go. That's our next podcast, by the way.
Yep.
It is.
Is it really?
Yes.
What is it?
Relationships,
yeah. So the point is that you wouldn't have gotten yourself in a situation called marriage if you'd already had your values in order.
So can love blind our values, Pastor?
Yes, they can blind it. Some call it, there's a real fine line sometimes between lust and love, okay?
Come on, you're right.
That's I'm
good.
Sorry.
Talk
If you're a good-looking guy and she's pretty, well, at least you're good-looking to her and she's beautiful to you, sometimes our eyes are better than our minds and our hearts.
That's good right there.
We see better with our eyes than we do than through the Spirit of the Lord, right? And so why is that important? I'm not saying that you shouldn't be with somebody that you're not attracted to. You should be.
Yeah.
If you're not attracted to one another, then in reality, that's not going to go very far either.
It's not.
Part of what draws a man is his attraction to a woman. What draws usually a woman is something that it's in him that's attractive. The men are totally attracted a lot of times first to the outside. Then he'll go in and meet you, find out about you. A woman is always looking what comes out of a man. A man's looking on the outside. Woman's looking on the inside. And a woman that tends to look on the outside first,
Go ahead.
probably is going to make a big mistake. Because women, sure, they like good-looking men. I have no problem with that. But you line up the inside, then look to the outside. So I love their inside, but now does it meet the criteria on the outside? Men now, we need to find out, do I even like that face?
Yeah.
We look at the outside first.
We do.
Then we go to the inside.
Yeah.
And you say, why is it backwards? Well, because first of all, because a man has to have enough gumption. He has to have enough testosterone, masculinity. He has to have enough strength and boldness to come and ask that beautiful woman out.
That's right.
Let me tell you something. I know a lot of men that look at a woman and are like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Right? Because she's so pretty to him.
Exactly.
To him.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. I think that's great. But by the same token, she's so pretty, it's worth asking her out too.
Exactly. There's a pursuit.
And so the man sometimes has got, God's hardwired him more physical. Then we'll look at the inside. A woman, on the other hand, okay, but if you're going to ask me and you're going to come to me, I need to know what's on the inside. And then I'll start taking a look at the package and if I like it. And that's just the way God made it, and it's the way it works, unfortunately, or fortunately, or whatever.
It's a good thing. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. So
I like what you said, though, lust versus love, and we have a tendency of going for lust first over the love. In regards to our values, because you mentioned values.
Yeah. Look, the lust part, you got to be extremely careful. You got to make sure that you're not looking for a woman that just fits one criteria. So yes, you have to be physically attracted, but if that is the only criteria, look, and I know because I had a couple of friends, they were very vain type of guys. Yeah. And they were good looking guys. But man, one of them always would say, man, if he saw a pretty model on the magazine, he'd go, that's the woman I want. I'm like, you don't know. You may not like that girl right there.
Yeah.
But he's like, that's what I want. I want that. I want a beautiful woman like that. Okay, that's fine. You're going to find a beautiful woman because you're a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what's on the inside now?
Come on, Pastor.
You may find that beauty about a year into your marriage is like, it ain't worth it no more.
Right.
And this is what happens. So your criteria cannot be skin deep. It has to be bone deep. It has to be heart deep.
Yeah.
In other words, you have to now that you found the beauty that you think that you could love, let's look to the inside and see if you can love the full package.
Come on.
So there's criteria. We work our way in. It's like digging a tunnel, so to speak. You start from the outside and you believe that when you get in far enough, you're going to find the gold.
Right.
That's what a man does. He's like, okay, you're beautiful. Now I need to dig into you to find out if there's gold in there. And this is why a woman digs from the inside out, because once you found her, she's the gold. But now you take her out to find out what her worth is. And so she's going to go out to see what you think her worth, what her worth is, by the way you treat her, the way you choose your values, and the way you live.
Yeah.
And so, men, your values need to run deeper than the skin.
That's good, Pastor.
After you find them.
That's good. The next one, Pastor, is women submissiveness. This whole, that's like a four-letter word to wives these days. Well, wives these days, being submissive.
I can't even believe you brought that up.
I know. Can you?
We're getting turned off right now as we talk.
I know, right?
Now, submission is hard because, and again, I could go through all the little flimsy, fluffy things about what submission is. I can tell you one thing, it's not slavery. Slavery doesn't mean she bows at my feet and she's humbled everywhere she goes. But what submission does mean at the end of the day is that it does mean that you're going to submit to the values of what the man
That's
and
good.
the head of the home believes.
That's good.
You're going to submit to the fact that if he's a God-fearing man who seeks the Lord's face, that when God tells you something for your household, that you're going to submit to that will, because you're going to trust that it wasn't just him that said it, your husband. It was the will of God through him. And so submission means humbly submitting and saying, I willingly give my life for you as a woman of God, believing that everywhere you lead us and direct us is what God's will is.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that a guy doesn't ask a woman for her help or her advice in these situations, because he does appreciate her.
Right.
But when God doesn't give him a word,
Yeah.
then that's when he asks. So like Cindy and I, Pastor Cindy and I, there are things that when God speaks to me specifically, I do not ask her. I tell her what God said. This is what God said. This is what we got to do.
Yeah.
But she loves that because she's seen it in my life how I've not missed it. And if I have missed it, it's been really minor things that didn't hurt anything.
Yeah, that's good.
But
good.
on the major things, we hit it right on the head.
Yeah, yeah.
And so she trusts that. Number two, but on things that I really would like to do, and I'm not really sure if it's God or not, but I'm just like, for instance, I'd love to have a house out in the country. Okay, I'm going to ask God first anyway.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not just going to do that.
Yes.
But at the same time, I would still, before I even ask God, I'd ask her, what do you think?
Yeah.
Because if you're not going to enjoy it,
Right.
but I do,
Yeah.
and I go to praying to God and God says, okay, and God's going to put you, I don't want you to feel like you're in a place that you don't enjoy either.
Exactly.
Even if God did answer my prayer.
Yeah.
So,
That's good.
so I ask her those things that affect both of us in a way that we don't necessarily have to. It's not necessarily a big time need, but it's something that we maybe want. Sometimes many times I'll ask her, what do you think? What do you feel?
Yeah.
What would you do? And I do that. But on things where it's a must, where God gives me no options, she doesn't get any options. And she has to submit to that.
Yeah.
And so, that's just the way it is.
And that should bring security in that relationship.
It totally brings security because she knows that she's protected, not only by me, but by God through it all.
I love that.
Submission is not a bad word. It's actually a very healthy thing in the eyes of God.
It also means helpmate, too.
Yes, it does.
God created Eve to help Adam.
Yes, that's
And
exactly
so it
right.
wasn't the other way around. And now we could talk about some women who are very controlling in their marriage, Pastor.
Yes.
So, and how should a husband approach that? She's been that way for years, and he just realized, wait a second, she's controlling. What do I do with this?
Yes, exactly.
So what should he do with it? In other words, the controlling woman.
A controlling one. Well, what you've got to do is you've got to put your foot down no matter what. This is hard. And there's always different ways to do it depending on personality. I'm always a big purveyor of how far has this gone. If this is a new thing, then okay, you may not need to put it down hard.
Right.
So you got to be careful.
Okay.
Because you don't want to put something, drive a wedge between you both when it didn't need to be that way.
That's good.
But you do have to state your case clearly and make it known that this is the way it's going to be. Then there are times where it gets out of bounds and it's like the only way to bring everything back into play, I'm going to have to come at it hard.
Yeah.
This is the way it's going to be, whether you like this or not, and here's why, blah, blah, blah. I never do anything without explanation.
That's good.
Because usually God even gives me the details as to why.
That's good.
And if you ask questions that are beyond the ability for me to answer that, at that point, it doesn't really matter. It does not matter. We're going to do it this way because this is what God said and this is why he told me to do it.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, when you have a controlling woman, it's probably because something deep within you is weak as a man.
Okay.
And so you got to go get that fixed first.
Okay.
And you might even need a mediator in some situations.
Okay, that's good
if
advice.
you've allowed it to go too far.
Yeah, yes.
If you realize as a man, okay, there's no way I can do this without causing divorce. There's no way I can do this without causing a lot of pain between me and my wife and my child.
Yeah.
There's no way I can do this without it causing a really, really big problem. Then you may need to say, okay, we're going to have to go get a mediator to help us through this next portion. And you've got to stay on it though as a man and say, okay, but I'm taking back control of our home and our life because it's healthy.
Yes.
And so there's different levels at which this has to be done. There's different ways in which it can be done, but sometimes you will need a mediator.
Okay.
And because a mediator is important if they're good at what they do and they really understand the biblical precedents for a wife who's submitted and a husband who's supposed to be the leader and how the marriage dynamic works.
Yeah.
If they understand that, then what they do is they actually will help you.
That's good.
Be able to divide everything properly in the actual
really
context of what's being done.
Yeah.
That way it eases the tension between the wife and the husband.
And that'll give her peace of mind knowing he's just not trying to control me.
Right. He's just not trying to put me in a corner and now all of a sudden take everything away. No, he's actually trying to get control of everything so that way everybody can walk in a straight line with the direction that God's going.
I love it. Because in the Bible, there's order. There's order in how a marriage should be.
Always order. There has to be order. Without order, your marriage, okay, you can actually fail in your marriage without a divorce. This happens a lot.
That's good.
Because marriage failure has nothing to do with divorce. Marriage failure has to do with, are you both walking in direct line according to the word?
That's good.
Period. And the reason why I say that too is why this is important is because what I see a lot of times is that a lot of marriages don't work. But what they've done is they've learned to cohabitate. And so I know men and women that are actually sleeping in separate rooms even though they're married.
Wow.
I know men and women that one will sleep on the couch and one sleeps in the bed.
Wow.
And they're married.
Wow.
Okay, that's not a marriage.
Yeah.
That's not a marriage. That means somebody is weak and somebody's strong. And it's usually the wrong person is the strong one.
Wow.
And so when that happens, that's marriage failure. And now you're teaching your children this is the way it always is and always will be. They've never seen what's godly. And so marriage, you already failed in your marriage.
Wow.
But it's still fixable.
Yeah.
But it's a marriage failure.
Wow.
And so divorce is not a marriage failure.
Yeah.
That's actually the picture of what it looks like though when it all came crashing down.
You're right. The divorce happened before the divorce.
Right, exactly. It already happened.
Wow.
So,
and the last one I want to take in here, Pastor, because we're running out of time here, is the word humility. Where's humility fit in marriage, would you say?
Well, I mean, if you're talking from the wife's side, it's submission is a humble thing. It requires humility. So, and I get why a woman would have a hard time with that, especially, and again, we don't ever want to make excuses, but in reality, when you're a firstborn, you've got to deal with that.
Yeah. You
got to deal with that. You can't allow that to be your excuse. You're a firstborn. That means that of all the children, the firstborn's usually the leader of all the other kids.
They sure are.
That's pretty common. And so it becomes a very normal thing to be the leader. You may not be able to tell your dad what to do or your mom what to do, but you tell everybody else.
Come on.
And then all of a sudden, if you're a working woman and you've done very well for yourself, all of a sudden you're a supervisor or you're a head manager or you're an office leader.
Yeah.
Or you do really well for yourself and you kind of make your own rules a little bit.
Yeah.
Man, all of a sudden you're a leader. And so it gets really hard for a woman to give all that up at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And then come home and then have a man tell her what to do.
Come on. That's good right there. Good
and
example.
That's in direct line with lack of humility. And that needs to be worked on.
Okay.
It's hard to humble yourself.
Okay.
And I get it. I'm not knocking a woman for that.
Yeah.
Because I totally get it.
Yeah.
It's hard to give up your rights. And on the man's side, he has to be humble enough to know that if you're going to be the leader of that woman, you better submit yourself well to the Lord.
That's good.
And I know how many men don't spend time with the Lord. They don't pray, they don't read, so they never get direction. And you know how many times they get humbled in front of people?
Come on, Pastor.
Because they'll be the only ones walking into a room full of Christians, and everybody else's marriage is good except yours.
Come on.
Because you haven't been doing what a man should do, and that's humbling himself in the presence of God.
Wow.
And so when neither one humble themselves in submission, the woman to the man and the man to God, it gets out of order.
That's good.
And then there's marriage failure.
And you're right. And because of that, the man will mislead.
Yes, he'll always misstep and mislead.
Wow.
Because he's going to have to go back to his training. This is the way I was raised. Well, this is the way I am. See, it's all thoughts about what he thinks. and what he feels.
And that's a bunch of excuses.
Kind of where he came from.
Yeah.
It's just excuses. But then all of a sudden, but if he's a godly man who knows how to humble himself before the Lord,
Hallelujah.
he'll open up the word and say, oh,
yes, sir.
That's what a godly husband is?
Yes, sir.
I got to follow that.
Come on, Pastor.
And you see, that's where men have a hard time because they want to put their foot down because they even read the word that a wife is to submit. That doesn't mean you get to put your foot down. It's talking to her. That scripture is actually talking to her.
Come on, Pastor.
Not to you.
Come on. That's good.
He's telling her, you submit.
Right.
He didn't tell you to put your foot down on her because she's supposed to submit.
That's good.
That's her job to learn to submit.
That's good, Pastor.
And so we look at these things backwards and messed up. And what happens is our marriage tends to really struggle. And it's seen in every area. And here's the ultimate thing.
Yeah.
When you're around people, it always reveals itself. And you know how it does? They usually kid with each other differently than everybody else in the room.
A little crude with
one another. You can tell when the way they look at each other, they roll their eyes when everybody else is looking at each other with love. Ooh. Everybody else is all the other marriages are standing shoulder to shoulder because they love to touch. They stand across the room and talk to one friend and they talk to the other. They stand far apart.
That's good.
And I'm not saying that's always the thing, but when you see it consistently,
right,
how they respond to one another, it's like two positive magnets and they repel. You can see it. And here's what else happens as a result.
Yes.
You bring tension to the room.
Wow.
I've seen it all so often. That married couple will bring more tension to the room because everybody feels it. Like, what's wrong with them? Wonder what's going on. I wonder, they must be mad at each other today. Well, then you find out the next time you all get together, they're mad too. Then the next time, they're still mad. Oh, no, they're not mad. They're falling out of love. Wow. They're falling out of respect for one another.
There it is.
So it brings tension to the room.
Wow.
So,
and we're out of time, Pastor.
As usual,
we're out of time. You have any closing comments?
Yes, you know what? Your marriage is worth saving. Your marriage is worth fighting for. But understand that there are principles that guide each step of your marriage. And it always comes first in the presence of God, then secondly through His Word. And by the way, it's okay if you turn it the other way around. Maybe you need to learn it from the Word of. Maybe God's presence will be a part of His Word. But either way, you got to go to God.
Amen.
And you'll find that many of the principles that you're struggling with in marriage, the Word of God defines it for you, and will help you redefine how you should walk out your marriage.
Come on.
Anyway, we love you. Be sure to go to our websites. Check out powerhousechurch.us. Also check out ABLA, which is our online academy, which is a school for biblical studies, especially if you say, man, I want to further my knowledge. I want to be able to know what Matthew and Pastor Paul talk about. I'm not at the high end of skill like the genius, but I know my stuff.
Yes.
Because I spend my time. Matthew knows his stuff. This is why we can counsel biblically.
Amen.
This is why we can get up here and share these things biblically, and we have information because we know our word and we know the Lord. Anyway, be sure to go online and check that out at ablacademy.org. ablacademy.org, and further your education.
Yes.
Anyway, we love you, and until next week, God bless.
God bless.
Thank you to all our incredible supporters for your generous contributions. This episode of Power Talk Podcast is proudly brought to you by Paul Ceccato Ministries. At Paul Ceccato Ministries, we are passionate about making a global impact. We support a variety of ministries around the world, including Teen Challenge, Harvest Now Ministries, and the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. If you're seeking biblical and spiritual growth, ABLA provides an enriched learning environment tailored to meet students' educational needs. Visit our website at ablacademy.org for more information. If you feel led to give and join us in this mission, please visit paulceccatoministries.com. Thank you for being a part of our community, and we'll see you next week.